Hey, one more thing before you go. Have you ever heard of Akashic Records? How can we access our own personal Akashic record? Can we connect with our spirit guides? You guys have heard me talk about it countless times. I talk to mine every day. How can we let that benefit us in our daily lives? Stay tuned. We're going to answer all these questions and learn all about Akashic Records, spirit guides, and more. And we got a really special thing going to happen that I'm excited about. I'm your host, Michael R Herst. Welcome to One More Thing before you go. My guest in this episode is Leilani Lucero. She's a mystic and Akashic Records practitioner, an energy healer, a medium, and a coach. Leilani's love of people and learning, her strong intuition, her sharp instinct, and her incredible gift of channeling has helped her understand the human psyche. She is uniquely skilled at recognizing how others can let go of what's limiting them, heal, and transform their lives. Everything about what this podcast is about. She guides others to heal, see their raw truths, claim their power, and find the inspiration and clarity they need to create divinely guided magical possibilities in their life. At her core, Leilani believes that in aligning with our highest selves, we can make better choices that lead to an extraordinary life, which is what we all want. Welcome to the show, Leilani.
Thank you, Michael. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited about sharing your journey, how you got here, and what you bring to the world. I think that we all like to know what the possibility is and what exists for us in life. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's an incredible privilege to be able to share what I get to do in service of healing, and I get to connect with people like you, and we get to spend time in this way. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I love, obviously, I love what I do, but I mean, I love taking the opportunity to help motivate people, inspire people, and educate people and give them a positive path forward. And I think that that's what we're going to do today. But we need to learn just a little bit about some stuff, like about you. So can we have a conversation about where'd you grow up?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. I grew up in the Bay Area in California. I'm a Bay Area native, and I lived there for many, many years before I moved to New York City and then DC. And now I'm here back in California, but this time in Southern California. I'm in San Diego. And yeah, it's been quite a path here to where I am today, not just physically, energetically. And yeah, I feel very grateful because I actually have a history, um, a career history in tech, in talent acquisition in tech. And so to be where I am today, doing what I am today, is something that it's just a really, it was divinely led and spiritually guided, and I'm just really grateful to be able to do what I'm doing.
It's an interesting background from that perspective. What when did you first know that you had these? I call them gifts. When did you first get? Did you have it as a child? Did you grow up with it? Did you? How did you first realize that you had this ability to be able to understand our spiritual side and our spirit guides and things like that?
It's an interesting question because I always felt other, and I was always connected. At a very young age, I felt spirits around me, but because I was young, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how to conceptualize it in a way that felt safe for my little young mind. And so I was a little bit in fear of that, and I tried to
Mhm.
ignore it and push it away. And as I continued to get older, things would just intuitively, I just knew things. I knew when things would happen. I knew people. I knew outcomes and possibilities of scenarios. I knew when things would happen for me and when they wouldn't. Um, and then only recently, actually, in the last couple of years, when I left that long career in tech, I decided to take a class to learn more about the Akashic records. I've always dabbled in psychics and clairvoyance. I've had readings, since I was the age of 18, 19. Um, and yeah, I took that class, and it just really opened up a world for me that I was shown, and it unearthed the gifts and the way in which I meant to serve, and the way in which I meant to help heal and transform and bring people back to themselves. And it happened very quickly from there. The first session reading that I gave somebody, I was kind of like, is this real? What's happening? I'm just I'm channeling all that's coming through for me, for the person I was giving the session to. And then I tested it, and then it kept coming, and I just kept getting more and more deeper into it. Yeah, it's just been beautiful. I've always been very spiritual. I've always been very deeply connected to the spirit world, to a higher power, to source. But it's typically, up until the last few years, been very private. And now, because of the gifts that I've unearthed in this way, I have clearly gone public with my spirituality. And my aim and my goal is to continue helping clients all over the world, which I do, and provide a new experience, a level of service that really helps them look within themselves in a different kind of way, in a unique way, in a spiritually connected, divine way, and provide them with deep healing, provide them with transformation, provide them with magical possibility, and show them that there's so much more available to them at any time.
What an amazing opportunity to connect with Mother Earth and the spiritual aspect of life and how we all are connected at such a point in that manner. So I'm jealous. I'm in awe as well. To be given these gifts is an amazing opportunity to help other people move forward in a very positive way. Now, I can only imagine how self-satisfying it is for you.
It is, and it's beautiful because there is no place for my ego. My ego, right? Because it's not me I'm channeling in a reading session, and I'm connected by divine in grace and in love, because the foundation of the
Right.
Akashic records is based on love. And so, you know, when I first started doing this work, it's like, okay, are they going to come through? You know, like, and every time they show up, and every time they come through. So every time, also after a session, when I close out a session, I'm still so high, vibrating so high from it, and it takes me a while to come down sometimes. But yeah, it's very beautiful, because while I have this gift, it's not mine. While I have this beautiful gift that I'm able to serve others in a way, from my heart, I am meant to serve, and I am meant to give. So the more I give, the less mine it becomes. So again, the ego is really not involved, and it's really beautiful.
That's very beautiful. That really is beautiful. I know sometimes we let our egos get involved or put a roadblock up in front of us. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that's not there. That's a really good thing. I'm also very grateful because as children in today's society, the majority of us, as children in society, when we start seeing spirits or we start seeing that aspect of life, society quiets that,
Yeah.
and you allowed it to grow and expand to a point to where you have that connection, and that connection is again, like you said, the gifts that were given to you. You share that with the world, and that's what an amazing opportunity. I feel so good about that. I'm glad we have this conversation. Well, let's learn a little bit about Akashic records. I'm familiar with the name. I'm familiar with what it is, but can we help others, the viewers and audience, understand what Akashic records actually mean and how they can benefit us by knowing what they are?
Yeah, so the Akashic Records, as you know, it's basically an energetic repository in a higher dimension, right? In a higher level of consciousness. And each person, each entity, every person, every like everything has an Akashic records, and within this energetic repository library, if you will, it houses all of our past incarnations, all of our present incarnations, all of our emotions, our feelings, our potential possibilities, any patterns or limitations, anything and everything related to you is within your Akashic record. And so the best thing to do is to be able to utilize your Akashic records for deep healing, for clarity, for guidance, for truth, so that you can feel empowered and aligned and in your own powerful authority as you move forward, as you go through your healing journey, as you align with your purpose. And so there's so much available within your Akashic records, and people typically haven't been aware that they, one, can have access to this, or, two, that they can go to people like me, who can open up their records and provide them all this beautiful guidance, truth, and healing. And it's pretty incredible because, you know, I think a lot of people in the last however many years have been hearing more about it, which means that it's in the conscious collective. And so it's definitely, it's available for you. And I just really urge you, especially if you're feeling like you're going through a hard time or a hurdle or need some clarity, you're going through something situational, or you're trying to move past your shadow self, right? Because right now what's going on in the conscious collective is that we're all being forced to look at our shadows. So much of that's happening right now. Right, we're in Mercury retrograde with all the with eclipse season, with all that's happened after the pandemic. We're really forced to look within ourselves, and so utilizing the Akashic records to move through, move forward for our higher self is it's really incredible, and it's a magnificent tool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that we have the opportunity to, I know I use opportunity quite a bit, but I've learned through my lifetime that there are opportunities that are presented to us, and we have a choice to take the opportunity or sidestep it and not take the opportunity. So this is an opportunity for us to have a better understanding of ourselves, where we come from, our spiritual side of life, and to be able to connect that all together to see what our path may or may not is supposed to be. Would you think?
Yeah, I think that there are things in our life, and I come from a belief that we have our soul contract. We have decided before we reincarnate into this human experience what we're meant to learn, what we're meant
Mm.
to grow from, the people that we're meant to meet. Like me and you are always going to meet in this life. It's beautiful that it happened in this way. And so sometimes those contracts aren't typically easy. Living a human life isn't easy, but our main purpose is to be in joy. Our main purpose is to be in love, coming from a place of love, being in love, loving yourself. And so finding those ways to get back to that, at different inflections in your path and different impasses in your journey, utilizing the Akashic records definitely helps provide that alignment.
Now, if I can ask for some clarification, are Akashic records pre-written as our destiny, or is that something that accumulates as we grow through each time? I believe in reincarnation. I believe we are souls that continue to live, that we live past lives, that we do more. When we leave this one, we come to a next one. So is that something that, and this is just to educate people, is that something that is already pre-written, like a destiny, or is that something that could be changed? How does that play into that? May I ask?
Yeah, my belief, and this could be my own because everything that I'm working through is my truth, right? It's what I know to be true. And so while there's these records, this energetic library on the higher dimension, we're currently living out these timelines. So, and we all have sovereignty, we all have agency, and we can heal things. So as we make changes in our lives, as we heal through things, we can reorganize, we can realign the Akashic records. And because it's energy, energy is constantly moving. Energy is constantly changing. It's ever flowing. And it doesn't happen quickly, right? There's divine order, there's divine timing for things. Um, and because, again, I believe in soul contracts, when my belief and my truth is that when we end this life and we decide whether or not and how we want to reincarnate into the next one, we're writing it at that time. So while right now, and a lot of people, we all refer to it as past lives, right? But the actual term past life isn't technically true. It's an easier way for our human brain to actually conceptualize it, because what's really happening is that we're currently living these so-called past lives at the same time.
I've
Does that
heard that. Yeah, I've actually heard that we really kind of live them simultaneously at the same time. So the deja vu is
It's real.
is kind of
It's
that is real.
Yeah, it's real. You're moving through timelines and you're like, oh, I've experienced this before, when really you're experiencing it right now, but in a different timeline.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's kind of. I mean, it's bizarre,
Yes.
it's beautiful, and it's amazing, but sometimes a little weird.
Yeah. I mean, listen, all of this stuff can get really weird if you think about it, right? Because again, we're humans and we want,
Yeah.
our logical minds are so brilliant. We want to conceptualize everything, right? But again, when I speak to, I know what my truth is and I know what I'm connected to, and somebody else might have a different truth, but they also might be just as connected, right? And I love that and I respect that.
Yeah, that makes us who we are from
Exactly.
a soul perspective. It really
Yeah.
makes us who we are. This is fantastic. I, how do spirit now? Earlier before we started talking, I was telling you I believe in spirits, spirit guides. I feel, and I talk to mine every day. And in fact, they're probably going, "Golly, he's doing it again."
No, they love it. They love it.
uh,
You have one right now behind you, like cheering you on. Male,
yeah,
very, very dominant.
sure they're not holding up a sign saying, "Could you please tell him to stop?"
No, they love you. They love your
uh,
energy.
but yeah, I believe in spirit guides. How do spirit guides help us? How do we understand how to connect with those spirit guides, and how do they relate to Akashic records? May I ask?
Yes. Beautiful question. So we all have angels and guides that are assigned to us, and I believe that we have our main team. We have spirit guides, angels, loved ones that have passed, ancestors that you may or may not even know about, and they sometimes during situational events, during instances in your life, hard times, or for specific types of problems, like if you're going through a financial issue or you're going through a relationship issue, you may actually be have another type of guide to help you through that particular thing. And so, with that said, you can call them in, you can talk to them. I think the most important thing is to actually speak to them, to have communication, to if you're unsure and you've never worked or talked to your guide, you're not familiar with who they are, you know say, who are you? Who are you? Like, can you show yourself to me? What's your name? Have this conversation with them. Sometimes it could be through automatic writing. Sometimes it could just be like, that voice in your head. It could be out loud, whatever it is, but become familiar. Have this conversation with them. Allow them to present themselves to you. And the best thing that you can do is ask for assistance. Ask your team of guides for assistance, because they're not able to intercept, come on in, and like interject and help you without your permission. So I think that's a lot of what people aren't aware of. To best utilize our guides, to best utilize the resources that are available to us, is that we have to ask for help. We have to be in communication with them. They need to know what we're going through, what our hardships are, and what exactly we're looking for, so that they can help us.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to express that. But it's a situation. I've never done that. I've never actually asked what their name was, but I
Oh, you
do.
should.
I should.
Yeah.
When we get done with this, I think I'll try that. But yeah, I've never asked. I've never asked it, but I do reach out to them on a daily basis every night before we go to bed. But well, I say I ask my angels and guides to put a white light of protection and healing over the home, and in doing so, it becomes natural. Doing it
Yes.
every night before we go to bed, and we're going someplace. We're going on a trip. My kids are going someplace. They're going on a trip. I always ask angels and guides to kind of protect them or put a white light of protection in around them. So, for those of you out there watching and listening, it's really easy to talk to your angels and guides. If
Yeah.
from my perspective, I think that it's just you just have to start talking. You know,
Yeah.
it,
That's beautiful about the protection piece. I want to elaborate a little bit more on that, because I think a lot of people, especially when you get into work like this, and what's happening right now in the collective is kind of insane, right? The
yeah,
energies are just like
a
all over the
lot of dark energy.
right. The veil is very thin, so things can get through. So it's beautiful that you do that at night. And also, what I would like to offer is to do that first thing in the morning. Call in your angels and guides. Claim that you're going to have an amazing day. Ask for blessings to be bestowed upon you. Ask for little miracles, and protect yourself. Have a little protective golden bubble around you so that nothing can come in. I also like to use Archangel Michael to cut any cords, to help further protect. He's an amazing archangel. He is a no nonsense archangel, and he's here to protect us and to guide us. So he can also cut any cords, clear any low energy anything, and create and help sustain that protective bubble around you, your family, your home. Yeah, it's beautiful. And you can also call these guides, specific guides for anything that you want. If you want like a specific angel helping guard the perimeter of your house, if you want, an angel to help you when you're going on travel, if you want, a bank account angel, if you want, like, you can call them in for different things, and they love that. They love being in constant communion with us.
I appreciate what you just said because all of it. I'm gonna have to check on the bank one. No, yeah, it's interesting because we've called on archangels, and I just want to express this so that everybody understands that how easy it is to be able to do from that perspective. We've called on archangels to help even our kids. Our youngest daughter was looking for a job, and she was applying and applying and applying, and there were some jobs that were perfect, some jobs that were not, and she was still having issues. And we called upon archangels in order to help her get what was what was meant for her. And when we asked that archangel to provide for her what was meant for her and give her the guidance and the support and the help, she was able to land a job that she's absolutely happy with, and she gets treated so well, and she's ecstatic for being here at this job, and she's thriving with it. So it's that simple. I just want to emphasize what you said. It is that simple. You just have to ask, and
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to understand even your guardian angels or your guides names. Although I don't know mine, I just I don't have to know my name. I mean, I'm going to try to find that out in here in a little bit. But to everybody else that's out there, you just need to ask, and you have help available to you, which I think is from a spiritual perspective. You'll feel that envelope you. You'll feel it wrap around you. You will feel it affect you in such a positive way. I think that's a great conversation. Thank you. That's a great.
And it's beautiful, because you bring up a very good point about, especially if people sometimes feel alone in this world, right? You may have lost loved ones in the last few years, or, have hit a rough patch in some way and don't feel like others understand or empathize with where you are. And just know you're never alone. You are never alone. You have your angels, you have your guides. They are always loving you, supporting you, holding you, witnessing you in all that you are. And yeah, it's just beautiful to be able to have that through some really hard times. If anything, please know that, please know that there are so many resources available for you. There's the Akashic records, there's, your angels and guides, and connecting in that way. And yeah, it just, utilize them because it's available for you.
What an incredible validation. I think that, to let people know that they are not alone. That's a great way of putting that. I really appreciate that. For so on a lot of different levels. Um, excuse me. I know that when you first started understanding and learning about Akashic records, what was your first introduction to Akashic records? Did a guide come to you? Did an angel come to you? How did you first learn about Akashic records in particular?
I didn't realize that I was always accessing, that I had that connection until I took a class from my mentor. I had a reading session with her maybe a year or more prior to taking her class. And I took her class just to deepen my own spirituality. I was very connected to who I was and my guides and my angels. I just wanted more. I just have this intense, I'm a seeker. Most of us are that are in this space. And so I just wanted to deepen my understanding and learn more. Um, and so I took this class with her, but I realized, and we all have hits of it. We all have hits of accessing our records. And sometimes, some people will say that's in a form of a download. You get this creative, inspirational something that just you're like, oh, I should do this. I should move forward in this idea. Or, you may have this intuition, like, I shouldn't drive down that street and go down that road. Or, oh, I should reach out to this person, I'm just thinking about them. And during these times, it's like this energetic holding of something bigger, and it's within the records, because everything is within the records, that you're accessing. Okay, reach out to the friend because they may need to hear your voice, or having a rough time. Or don't go down that street because you may have just missed an accident that hasn't happened yet, or whatever it is. It's just, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that, at least from my perspective and what I have learned and what I've felt and what I've practiced, it's a gift to each one of us that we have the ability to be able to reach out when we need it. And if we learn to listen,
Hmm.
there's the Italian portion of me. If we learn to listen, and open our hearts, I think that we it gives us it will give us a better well-being, a personal well-being, that we know that we're protected, that we know we have something or someone near us that will allow us to be safe, or put us in the right direction, or nudge us in the right way, or listen to the whisper in our ear, so that
Hmm.
we and learn to recognize that. So we all have the ability to do that, right?
Yes, we all have the ability to access. Some people may have a deeper sense of being able to do it and can do it
Right.
for others. And but what's amazing is that we can. It can take practice. It can take intention. But also, with everything, you should have intention, right?
Yeah.
Being connected, creating that mental space, because you don't want your mind to get involved. Once your
Right.
mind gets involved, it just, not a lot of good
Yeah.
things happen when your mind get involved and your ego's in the way, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, just allowing that to just kind of wash through. And if you meditate, going into deep meditation, and I can take you through the process. of what it looks like to go into the records the traditional way in the process. And Michael, I would love to open yours if you're
I
up for
I
it.
I am up for it. I would be ecstatic.
Okay, so I could take your listeners through the process. So, with your permission, with my client's permission, there is certain information that's required. Basic information: your full birth name, your birth location, your birth date, your current name, and then what I typically do is I'll just go through like a quick grounding, clearing, breathing exercise to make sure that we're dropping our energies, that we're clear, we're able to receive. And then I'll say a pathway prayer. And I don't always say a pathway prayer. I do it for new clients. Sometimes it's easy. I could just like connect in and here we go. Let's start. But it's nice because it also helps just drop the energies. And I feel like it's a beautiful way of both of us attuning to what's available here. And typically, I have clients come in with questions that they want clarity on, or guidance on, or truth, or healing, or possibility. And sometimes I have clients that don't have any questions and they're like, I just want to check in and what's here for me now. And just know that every time, whenever you're in session, whenever we're in a reading, what comes through for me is meant for your highest good at this energetic time. In this time and space, what comes through here. So, just know that things change. We move through energies, like 6 months from now, you're not in the same energetic space that you're currently in. And you have agency and sovereignty to make changes to move through it. My job is to give you what is meant for your higher self so that you can heal, so that you can feel grounded and aligned and open to the possibilities. And that's also what's really great about the Akashic records, is that there is that healing component behind. It's not just like a typical psychic
Right.
reading of like, okay, if I, go do this thing on this day, is it going to drop like $500,000 into my account? It's like there's a healing component, and that's what's beautiful, because we're shifting and changing and co-creating this energetic space so that you feel that you are seen, that you feel that you're loved, that you know that you're provided for, that you know that you're an abundant divine being, and your only purpose is joy. And so every time you are being directed to like a possibility that brings you to your purpose of joy, to your purpose of love, to your purpose of healing. And so, yeah, you can ask questions at any time given, during our time together. And then, yeah, how's that sound? You want to go in?
Sounds fantastic. I'm really excited about getting involved. I got this weirdly warm feeling all over.
Great, great. So I'm just going to ask us to close your eyes, feel your feet on the ground connected to the earth, feel your back straight, taking a deep, soft breath in through the nose. Audible exhale out loud through the mouth. Deep, soft breath in. Audible exhale through the mouth. One last letting go breath in. And just feeling yourself dropping into your body. Feeling yourself allowing and surrendering what needs to be surrendered. Being open to what's here. Feeling yourself connecting to spirit. And when I say spirit, source, the divine, God, the universe, whatever term you want to use, just feeling yourself connected. I'm going to go ahead and say the pathway prayer to access your records. I call upon Source, Divine Masters, angels, guides, loved ones, star councils, and keepers of the Akashic records. I ask that I be one with divine truth and perfect integrity and alignment as I access Michael's Akashic records. Through grace and love at the highest power and with the deepest gratitude, I ask for divinity to pave the way. Okay, Michael, your records are open. You can open your eyes if you'd like. And there's so much love for you here. Yes, you have your guides here. There's 3 guides that you have. Your main one is male energy. He's right behind your left shoulder right now. He has a very, very strong presence. He's excited that he gets to introduce himself to you by name in a little bit. Yeah, he's excited. They like that. They like knowing. It's beautiful because what came through for you, there was a dog that you had when you were a young boy. Um, and it was like your best friend. He like followed you everywhere. Like you were the type of kid that got into hijinks a lot. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Little
You
bit.
got
A little bit.
Yeah, you got into some trouble, you got into some hijinks. You could be really sneaky, but that's what made you really great at the job and the career you chose. Like you were, it was all leading you to where you were. But your dog, what was his name? Does it start with an O?
Uh, I had 2 dogs actually. One was a German Shepherd dog, and one was a little Schnauzer.
It's a little schnauzer guy. What's his name?
That was Penny.
Okay, her name Penny. And the German Shepherd?
I don't remember the German Shepherd's name. I was just very young.
It's Penny. Like she's like, what's our adventure today? Like she would follow you around because you also had a very active imagination when you were younger. You created scenarios in your mind of how to begin these adventures. It was like Michael's adventure for today. What is our adventure for today? What are we going to get into today? And she was like your little, in like superheroes, there's always a sidekick. Like she was your sidekick. She was like, okay, let's put on the cape and go. You were always a very curious kid, and that's still who you are. Your love of everything possible. You love being surprised because nothing really surprises you, especially like anymore. Like you're so connected that you're like not surprised because in a bigger, higher power. So like you love being surprised, and it's little subtle things that surprise you
Mhm.
sometimes, like how a person can just out of nowhere show kindness or acknowledge. Like those things tend to surprise you, but like the bigger, grander things don't typically surprise you. And you were that kid, and you still are within you. There's a very playful little boy within you still, of like, let's go on an adventure, let's go discover the world, I got my backpack, let's go.
That is
And
correct.
yeah, there's so much about you, and that's why you were so good at what you did as a police officer. That's why you were so good at, like, you can face anything and be ready for anything at any given time and be open and curious. Like, you know um in that role, you have to be able to be open. You can't be closed-minded because then you don't see things, you miss
Correct.
things. And you've always had this as a kid, like, oh, I can see like the whole periphery of what's happening around me, even though there's this big thing happening in front of me. Like you're like, oh, that cool thing that's happening over there, and those kids are doing that thing over there, and it's like, oh my God, my mom's saying this thing, and this is what's for dinner, and she's telling me this over here, and like my dog, like you were so good at still being present and open and available to everything that was around you, and that made you so good at your job and so good at being human. They're saying like you're so good at being human because you have this insatiable curiosity where it keeps your mind and your heart open always. Like you don't close that off. Even when you dream like big things, like like really like things that people would be blown away for if they thought about in their real waking life. Like you think like
I
what.
have very, very vivid dreams,
Yeah, and it's
very
amazing.
busy dreams.
Yeah, you're going through. You want more right now. They're saying that there's something that you want more, and while you're so fulfilled in this work that you're doing in your podcast, it's like, okay, what's next? Because you don't rest. You're not like your mind. You're so. Your mind is so brilliant. You're so intelligent, but also you match that with the emotional capacity to feel and to be. And so that's, they're also saying, as an aside, this is really good for people because that allows for a more quicker connection to spirit. Like you've always been connected. It was been ingrained in you by your mother and your grandmother, right? To be connected to spirit.
Spiritually, yeah.
Yeah, like there's something about your grandmother. Your grandmother is coming through. Um,
I would have to ask which grandmother
from your mother's side.
on the other side.
Yeah. Is she not from here?
My my grandmother, if you're
From
going
your
to the grandmother on my mother's side, she has since passed many, many years ago. Um, from here, you have to define what you mean by that.
Well, I just see her. I see her in curlers. I see her in the kitchen cooking. Like I see her
That
in
would
like a
be
moo.
that would be my grandmother Trig.
Yeah, like I see her in her moo cooking with her curlers. Like she's got a bit of sass to her. You know, like
Yeah,
you gotta wipe off your feet and shoes before you come to her kitchen. Like that's
yeah,
the vibe that I'm
yep.
getting.
That was her. Yes.
And let's just see what message she has for you. She just likes witnessing you. Um, there's something about TV. I don't know if you guys ever used to sit and watch TV together.
We did. I mean, it's. I've always been. I'll say, fortunately and unfortunately.
Mm.
Um, since a child, I've been interested. In fact, I probably would have been an actor if I wasn't a cop
Hmm.
because I love to create or director and creating from that aspect of it, creating those stories. Where I do being a filmmaker, I want to be a filmmaker at an early age. So TV and film and that aspect of everything. Yes, it was my escape.
Mm. Yeah, I see you two just watching TV together, like even old westerns. Um, you like the good guy, bad guy, like those kinds of plots, you know?
Hmm.
Because for you it went deeper. It goes deeper into darkness and light, evil and good, evil versus good, right? Like this idea of like something so contrast can actually exist,
Yeah.
you know? And it's so interesting. Okay. Do you have any questions, Michael, that you want?
I do. I'm at a point in my life where I'm determining whether or not I have some blockages in regard to moving forward on several creative projects, and I'm not understanding why I have those blockages on those creative projects because I reach a certain point on them, and then I get muddled with stuff, and I don't know if it's a success failure from my father's perspective or whether or not it's something that's within myself.
It's a little bit of both. Okay. So there's one project that doesn't feel like it. fits your energetic space any longer. It doesn't feel like you're passionate about that, and it feels like it's okay to let that one go. It's okay to just let it go. It doesn't mean you have this idea that if you don't finish something to fruition that you failed.
That's
That's not
correct.
that's not true. Just because an idea hasn't gone to full conception and out there in the world as you initially intended does not mean you failed. Because sometimes you get very hard on yourself about failing. There
Correct.
are things in your life that you feel very strongly and heavy hearted about, and wish some things were different. And spirit just wants you to know that everything about you is so beautiful and so perfect. Like, we're all perfect. And the voices in your head about how harsh you can be to yourself sometimes does mimic your father. And that's why you asked that. So it is tied to him, but it is also tied to other past lives that you've had around high achieving, around not finishing to fruition, not being successful, being told that, like, you're nothing, you're not smart. Like, your biggest fear is that, like, somehow the world will see that you're not smart, which is so far from the truth. Like, you're incredibly intelligent, you're incredibly emotionally intelligent as well. Like, your brain is so brilliant, and like, you see things in ways that other people don't typically see things. And so, to go back to the projects, one, let go with grace, let go with love. It's a beautiful idea that you got to dream about and you got to work on, and it's okay and enough as it is. So that one you can let go of. There's another one that, yeah, you're not moving forward because you are scared of what the result will be. Will it be received in a way that, are you looking for financial backing?
I'm not looking for financial backing. What I'm looking for is the freedom for my wife and I and my kids to do what we want when we want. And it is a situation that, from a financial standpoint, it's kind of it is. But I guess I should just say this out loud. The reality is I need this to succeed,
Mm,
and I desire this to succeed because I think it's the right direction and going in that direction. And if and I know that what I'm creating, it can benefit other people in so many ways. So in regard to that, I am wanting to make sure that I'm on the right path to continue with that direction, to give us the freedom to do what we want when we want.
you are definitely on the right path, but the language needs to be tweaked. So they're like spotlighting the need. You don't need this to succeed. Your heart desires it to thrive and to be successful. There is no need. Like, your safety and the safety of your family is not predicated on this to succeed, but your desires and the potentiality of what it means for your family is riding on this. And so what they want you to do is shift the thought that it needs, because spirit's like, we hear you. We know how much this means to you. We know how important this is. We know how far it can go. Like, it's gonna go far. It's really gonna go far. It does feel, when they ask about the financial backing, it does feel like, is this something that, like, a product or a service that you will need investors for?
No, actually, this is something that I can create myself, that I'm in the process of creating myself, and has the potential to become larger than what it is right now and continue to be successful as we go. But I've never created something like this before. And
Okay.
it's something that I'm kind of going, okay, well, I'm doing this, but am I good enough to do this?
Yes. Yes. Yes, you're good enough to do this. Yes, this idea is amazing. And they're pointing back to, again, this financial backing, because it does feel like you are meant to actualize it in a way where you have an investor. They keep pointing me to, um, this is something that people want to invest in. And
Mm.
with that backing, you feel more aligned and, more like the thread of the need isn't so much
Mhm.
there, but the thread of allowing, because other people believe in you. The financial piece is already in place so that you can just move forward, and you don't have to think about it so much as needing, as opposed to like, yes, we get to do it. So yeah, they keep pointing me to that financial backing. It's if that's something that you haven't looked into, please do, because it feels very, very fruitful.
From that perspective. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that because it is something that we always, and this is just for everybody. We always have this innate within ourselves when we question whether or not we're taking the right path in regard, especially something that we feel the the security and the well-being of ourselves and our family is reliant upon that success of something. So there's always that little bridge. Do I cross that bridge or don't I cross that bridge? And
Yeah.
in this particular case, it sounds like I have the opportunity to cross that bridge. I just need to get rid of
There,
the word need and listen to
yes.
my heart.
And it's not about opportunity, because you're going to cross the bridge. Like, I'm seeing you, you're crossing the
Crossing
bridge.
the bridge.
You're already on it. You know what I mean? You're already on the bridge. And you're the type of person, you don't go backwards. You don't go back. You continue forward momentum. Um,
Okay,
Again, they're,
can I ask you something really quick?
yeah.
Okay, I may have already had somewhat of the financial investment within this because, and I'll explain this to you after we're done, but
Okay.
I may have already had some financial investment within this to help me propel in this direction. The
Mhm.
hesitancy was to whether or not it was the right direction because this was given to me in such a way, again, which I will explain here in a little bit, but it was given to me in such a way that it gave me the tools that I need in order to cross that bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there's more, and they want to get into detail, and it sounds like it'll be a little bit, maybe, more offline, because it does feel like there was a condition that was presented to you in that opportunity that didn't really quite sit well. And that's kind of why you walked away, which was the right thing to do. It feels like moving forward, they're saying there's another opportunity that's going to come in for you that feels 100% right and aligned, that will be what you want to move forward with. So trust that you know to be true, because you've been making the right steps. Don't allow yourself, like, it's the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old self that's being told by his father that you're not going to amount to anything, and that, like, you're stupid or whatever. Don't let that voice come into play. Don't let that voice dictate either your drive to do it or the pullback to not move forward in a certain way, because that has also been part of your drive to prove him wrong in a lot of ways in your life, right? And so they're just pointing to paying attention to, like, the language that you speak to yourself, the ways you speak to yourself, the ways you potentially may limit, or how the intention behind the drive, like the word need, like, that, remembering that, those patterns of not enoughness or not
Mhm.
worthy enough, not letting that be, and just believing and knowing that what you are putting out there will serve not just you and your family, but so many other people in such a beautiful way. And it's meant to be out there. And staying in that vision is
That
like,
part.
yeah,
And
that's the,
in reality, I mean, I understand that from that perspective because what I'm trying to create, I'm not just doing it for the money. I'm
Yes.
doing it because I want to be able to inspire people and motivate people and educate people. That desire is within me. I want to create something that people are going to learn from. People can take that and say improve themselves and do so without without spending a fortune, or you know what I mean. It's something that I'm not just doing it because, oh, I can do this and
Yeah.
then wow, I can get rich. I'm not looking to get rich. I'm looking to help other people but take care of myself as well.
That's why it's going to work. Because if you were looking to just get rich without a beautiful, loving intention behind it, those things never work. That's
Never
like a
work.
hustle that
Yeah.
falls flat, you know? That's like, no, all of your intentions are in the right place. Your heart is so big too, and that's in the right place. And like, you're doing this not just for yourself, you know? And that holds
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? It feels as though might have a little another side project, and you could just that one you can hold. So, does that answer the questions around the projects?
It does.
Okay, great.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Okay.
I do have another question. I don't know how this would relate to it, but it's always something I've been wanting to ask. I lost my father at a young age,
Yeah.
number one. So within that regard, I it I also lost my it's a whole big story, but I'm trying to phrase this in such a way. So because of family dynamics, it was a situation where um, my grandmother on my father's side lost communication with us kids.
Yeah.
And it was due to, again, dynamics. I won't go into detail for everybody that's listening, but within that regard, I found a letter from my grandmother that I never got until after my mother passed away, actually, I didn't know existed. And I have felt guilty about that for years because I did not want my grandmother to think we abandoned her. It and I don't know if that's something that could be answered with the Akashic records or not,
Yeah.
but
Everything.
it's a situation that I loved my grandmother on my father's side,
Your
and
father. Your father is Italian. Is your father?
uh,
Where was your
there, there, there,
grandmother?
there's
Was,
another there's another thing. We'll have to get off when we go off here. I'll explain it to you. But the possibility exists. My father was Italian, because it may not be the father that I thought I was supposed to. That was my father. Um, so keep that in mind. But yes, there is that. I need to know that my grandmother knows that I loved her.
oh yes, it's there. It's there, and she's here. Um, do you know what she looked like?
Yes,
Did she have
she's
dark hair?
she had dark hair.
Yeah,
Yes,
long dark hair.
I wish
Um,
she kept it up quite a bit, but
um, she feels Italian.
it's yes. Um,
She feels Sicilian. She's saying she's Sicilian. She's
oh,
telling me.
that's funny. Yeah, wait. Yeah, when we close out, I'll go into more detail with that. I don't want to divulge too many
Okay,
personal issues with that, but yes, you hit a mark there. So
okay. So she's telling me. She's like, she's dark haired beauty. She's calling herself a dark haired beauty. She's saying she's Sicilian, that blood is strong in her. She knows um, that there is nothing that you could have done to have changed the situation. And she wants your heart to feel at ease because all she wanted was for you to know that she loved you, same as what
yeah,
you want. And everything, she's saying everything, even with your father, and there's other people in the family, other siblings in the family, like everything kind of just becomes okay after, like you reach that point on the other side where really you're just in divine energy, divine love. And you're home and everything is love. And what she's showing and telling me is that from the other side, she's like, it's all love. It like you are love, and I don't know if she had a nickname for you. Like if there was a nickname, but she's
I was so very young that I don't recall a nickname, but the
okay.
last time I'd seen her, I think I was probably 9 or 10 years old. Um,
There was a
she used
nick.
to call me Master Michael, like
Mm,
instead of Mister Master. Which is the
yeah,
old way of addressing a young man.
yeah,
But
um,
and,
yeah.
and
She's here very strongly.
And and I find that interesting because that message is not only for me, that's for everybody that's listening or watching out there, is that what you're saying is that on the other side there's always love on the other side, and that love is expressed back to us. And so I appreciate that message not only for myself, but I appreciate for others out there that are seeking the same information or the same aspect of the same question in regard to their own lives. So thank you for that message coming through.
Yeah, what they want for you and all of others listening is to know that your ancestors, your loved ones, even those that you haven't met, they're all cheering you on. They all want you to feel good, to feel loved, to be empowered, to be authentic, to be home within yourself, to love who you are, to come from that place. And so you may not even know it, but they're also like giving you blessings and like, throughout your life. And they're here. They are here. She's here. Your other grandmother is still like, she's the one that popped in the beginning very strongly, the one
That's
cooking
my
with her.
mother's side.
Yeah, the moo moo and the curlers. But yeah, this grandmother is very strong. Um, she was known where she comes from. Yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah, it's very beautiful. We can get into it more, but yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of that. And again, the message I appreciate as well. The last part of that message to everybody is that it does exist, and that you can all rest assured if you've lost somebody that on the other side love comes through. So I'm happy that I can share that, and that you can share that message from the other side.
Yeah. Even with loved ones that you've had a really hard relationship with during this life, you can feel close to them after they're passing in another way because they are in a different energetic
Mm.
space. So that also comes through. And of course, that's also a choice if that's something you want to do.
Right.
You don't have to, but it's available to
Is
you
available
because,
to you.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. This was amazing. I thank you very much. You've opened my eyes and my heart and my soul. I feel warm and fuzzy all over.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm going to go ahead and close your records now, Michael. It's very important that we do that so you're not lingering out there in the ethers. So just take a deep, soft breath in, audible exhale out loud. Thank you, masters, teachers, and loved ones, and all of Michael's ancestors that came through and all of his guides. His records are now closed. Okay, your records are closed.
That was amazing opportunity. That was amazing session. I am very, very, very grateful that you gave me this gift. Um, I'm looking forward to playing this back for my wife. I think she's going to be amazed, excited, and then she's going to want one too.
I love that. I love being able to provide whenever I can. And it just so happened that for me and you to meet in this way, it was always going to be this way. So here we are. Thank you so much, Michael. Your energy is beautiful.
Well, I appreciate all of what you said, and the fact that it's interesting how, and I wholeheartedly believe this. You said we were meant to be, and we were meant to be together at this time, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. I think it, and I've said it before in some of these other episodes that I have had discussions with, but you really validate that for people. Is that some the people that come into our lives for a reason, whether it be positive or negative, because we always gain something from it, and we can learn from it. We can move forward from it, and it makes a connection to show that we are all connected as a whole in humanity, and that we are all one and connected to the universe and to source. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you validating that for myself as well as the people that are out there listening and watching, because I feel that we all seek that. We all want that closure. You are able to close something for me I'm I'm almost on the verge of some tears, but I'm not going to let that happen at the moment. But you were able to close something for me that had worried me for I won't say how really old I am. I'll tell you off air. But this is media. You know, we're supposed to give that projection that we're forever young. But it has been, I say, the last time I had seen my grandmother was like 8 or 9 years old, and that's a really long time ago, and that has stuck. See, I'm getting choked up already. That has been on my mind this whole time. It has been on my mind. It's on my mind all the time, even though people would think, well, there shouldn't be, but in reality, it has. It's always been in the back of my mind. You know, I felt guilty. I felt bad. I felt sad that my mother never gave me the letter, and then I found it when she died in 2010. So situations like, wow, she never knew that. I mean, she probably died of a broken heart, thinking her grandkids didn't love her. You
No, she.
closed that for us, and I'll be able to share that with my sister, my brother, my sister, and I'll be able to share that with them to show them and tell them. So I'm grateful for that.
I'm just. That's why I love what I do. I love what I do because I'm able to provide so much. And we didn't know what was going to come through.
No,
Today, we didn't. But I love that you were given this. I am grateful and also witnessing it. So thank you.
thank you, thank you. Now, next time we come on, we got to talk to Elvis because I have a lot of questions.
That would be interesting. I've never channeled a celebrity from the dead.
uh,
Maybe we should.
yeah, I got a lot of questions. Anyway, let's get back to you. A little bit more about you. I'm wiping tears. Sorry.
Mhm.
I'll do that off screen here.
That's beautiful.
Um, let's talk a little bit more about you. I know that we've spent some time focused on me, and I really appreciate that. I hope that everybody out there, you've got the opportunity to kind of understand a little bit more of how this works, how easy it is to work, and how the ability for somebody like Leilani can do and take you through this process, so that you too can connect with who you want to connect with and be able to understand where you're at in life and where you can be in life. So let's talk about how to get in touch with you and what you have to offer others.
Yeah. So my thing is have a new experience. If you haven't done this before, really say yes to yourself, honor yourself. This is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself. And I do one-on-one sessions. I have like what's on the screen. I have full moon healings. I have divine transmissions for around specific dates that are energetically charged, like what's going on astrologically in our collective. I'll do women's circles. I have clients all over the world. So I do sessions on Zoom. We can do it on video. We can do it off video. I do them on WhatsApp. I love doing them in person. So if you're here in San Diego, come find me. We can go to a beach and have a session on the beach. But yeah, you can find me on all the things. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and I'm here. So I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you in your healing journey. I'm here to show you that you're loved. I'm here to show you possibility. I'm here to show you that you're magic and that you're connected. So yeah, have that new experience.
And your website.
Website www.leilani, Leilani Lucero, Lucero.com.
That's amazing. And I'll make sure that's in the show notes for everybody so that they have easy way of just connecting by just clicking the link. That'll take them right to your website. And you've got those sessions. You've got so many things. You've got a blog on there. You've got so many tools available for people so that they can come to a better understanding of their spirituality and how to connect with the other side. And we didn't get to talk about the mediumship and the mysticism, and we have to come back on and we'll do it again. And we can educate people from that perspective. But I'll make sure it's all there. Um, Leilani, thank you honestly for coming on board and for sharing your journey with us and for educating people. And hopefully, you've inspired and motivated them to explore the possibility of what exists on the other side. I really appreciate that. Um, this is one more thing before you go. So, before we go, do you have any words of wisdom you can share?
Hmm. I just give yourself some love today. Give yourself some love. Be a little bit lighter on your heart. Look in and just give yourself some love, because you're a divine being and you are so, so loved. If you knew how much you are loved on the other side, you wouldn't think twice about the shit that you say to yourself.
That's
So give,
profound. Profound words of wisdom. Love. That's a profound words of wisdom.
yeah.
So, Leilani, thank you very much. And until we talk again, have a great day. Have a great week. And everybody, thanks for listening.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.